Sleepy Hollow episode 8 titled Necromancer. After last week's episode, I was really waiting for this one. The group officially had Death, captive. And, this episode was basically to tell the story of, who Death is. So they revealed his identity, how he became, Death. And it was a great little twist. It was a nice addition, to the lore of the story as a whole, because we learned that when Ichabod decided to go against the British, when he joined Katarina and everyone who was basically in the supernatural realm, he didn't just fall in love with her and stuff like that. He was actually the best friend to her soon-to-be husband, and she fell in love with Ichabod, and he was kind of trapped in the middle. And we learned his friend, who was his best friend, turned against him because he was left by Katarina. And then Ichabod, being the character he is, he kind of just admits, I didn't know this, but she fell in love with me, which is a horrible idea, but that's how it played out. And because he was honest with his friend Abraham, they ended up fighting. And before Abraham could actually kill Ichabod, he was shot. And Ichabod escapes, and he thinks, I had my best friend. I told him what happened. His fiance fell in love with me. I told him, and unfortunately, his rage took over, and we fought. And then he was shot because they were in enemy territory, and they were found out. And throughout the episode, we actually learned that Abraham, although he died, he actually made a deal with the devil, or Moloch, and was reborn. They shaved his head. They gave him one of the black masks. They, I can't think of what it's actually called, but they branded him. And I guess they did the tattoo later, or right then. They didn't actually show the tattoo thing, but he had the tattoo, and he became Death after he died. So it was really interesting to get that story element where he had the necklace that he gave to Katarina, or Katrina, because that's how they say it now. But it was actually really cool to me. I thought it was really interesting that Death was actually his best friend, and the reason Katarina was actually trapped in purgatory pretty much is because her soul was basically saved. Like Moloch decided, okay, since you're gonna be Death for me, once she dies, I'll basically just trap her soul here for you. So it was really cool to get the answer to that, although I honestly forgotten about it because it was so long ago. But it was great to get that answer that she's trapped there because he made that deal, and Moloch is of course that powerful that he can trap whoever he wants. And so Katarina is trapped there, and now Ichabod and Abby have to figure out how do we get Katarina, because they need her more than ever, because she's the key to stopping the horseman, because she's his weakness, his former love. So I'm excited to see how that story plays out next week. But I'm also excited because we now officially have all four members of our team. We have Abby, we have Ichabod, we have Orlando Jones, who I finally learned his name is Irving, but I'm just gonna call him Orlando Jones. And we have Jenny, and she's out of pretty much the insane asylum. And she and Orlando Jones, they went out. They it was cool to see them team up because they didn't have any interactions really. They just kind of heard about each other, from Abby and Ichabod, mostly from Abby, of course. And they team up in this episode. They go. I can't remember the name of the people that they were going after, but they went after this man who Jenny used to work for, and they find him, and they're trying to basically break the hex so that Death can escape the tunnels. And Jenny figures out, if they did this first, they're gonna go and try to destroy all the power, destroy power grid, so that the UV lights can basically just go away, and that would strengthen Death. And then they basically go in after that and release the hexes. So they go to this power plant, and it seems like they figured it out, and then of course things go wrong. It blows up. They lose power, but it was great to see them team up and stuff. And like, it was kind of short, but I actually enjoyed. I did enjoy having that in general because we've never had it, and I thought it was a really good interaction between the characters. And also, they'll obviously be interacting a lot more now because they are the small team that's going to be fighting against Death. And all the demons, which we got to see a few of in this episode. They were all the same, really, but I think some were like pitch black and the other ones were like white or just lighter or something. But I like that portion too. I just like how, when they shoot them, they kind of just like burst and sort of turn into just rubble, and it was kind of cool how they did that. And I just thought it looked really sweet instead of them just, just dying and falling over. Their demons being killed, and they're super weak demons, obviously. And once they're killed, they just kind of shatter into little pebbles and just fall on the ground. I thought it looked really cool. And also, they can teleport, which they do when they take Death and Brooks, who's back in this episode, and they take them away. And it was cool to have that moment. And Brooks being in the episode again was cool because he wanted to help out Abby, but he did tell them like, hey, if I do this, it'll be bad because even though I can be Death's voice because I'm his necromancer, I can't help you guys out really because Malik owns my soul, which we see once Death decides to stop using him as his voice. Brooks generally, he takes the thing out of his stomach, which is kind of gross, but he takes it out and he releases the hexes because it's just what Malik told him to do and he had no choice. So he does that, and something that was really good was the end of the episode where Ichabod is about to be killed by Death. He's about to get his revenge, and Brooks jumps in and he says, you can't kill him because the master wants him alive. So I'm really curious what in the world they need Ichabod for. Are they going to try to turn him evil because he knows something that even he doesn't know he knows, or is there something with just him in general, like his body or his connection to Katarina, maybe because he's really the only connection they have to the past witches, and maybe they can use him to kind of get her power or some sort of transference. I don't know, but I'm excited to see why they need him alive, because this whole time Death was coming after him, and then we find out in this episode he's kind of been doing that on his own will. He was initially following a mission, but he kind of just went all in, and not even just for his head, but so that he could kill Ichabod for revenge, because they used to be best friends until Katarina chose Ichabod over Abraham. So it was a great episode. We learned Death's motive for becoming Death, Abraham's motive for becoming Death, and we learn why he's so focused on Ichabod more than anything else, even getting his own head back, because even though that's his mission, is to get his head and bring the other horsemen in, he went after Ichabod because that love lost was a lot more important to him than destroying the world, which I guess he could kind of do at any time because he has a flaming axe. But great episode. I thought it was really well done. It's great to see the whole team together, so I'm excited to see just everyone together in every episode. Hopefully, at least for the most part, we'll get all four characters in every single episode, and I don't see why we wouldn't, because we have to have Abby and Ichabod. We kind of have to have Orlando Jones because he's the captain, so he's kind of helping them out. And then you only have to have one extra character in there. I don't see why it would be so hard for them to just fit her in perfectly, because she'd be living with Abby. So we'll have the sisters together in their dialogue. We'll have Ichabod and Jenny in their dialogue, which I always love because Jenny knows a lot of different stuff that no other character knows outside of Ichabod. So it'd be cool to see them kind of relate to all this really weird knowledge that they have of the supernatural. So that'll be cool to see, because I'm sure it'll be funny. But comment below, let me know what you thought of this episode. Favorite parts, least favorite parts, and even though I guess it could just be any random reason, why do you guys think Malik wants Ichabod to live? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.